The S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100. What can I say? Now, the biggest news going into today was the BOJ doing the buyback. And I want to talk about this right off the bat. Everyone was kind of like, what's happening? This is a big surprise. Asian markets rally as Beijing sends stimulus signals, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But BOJ buys Japanese bonds. And this is something that it's happened. You've seen BOJ talk a lot about what they're going to be doing over the past 6 months. But this is the first time these actions are taking place over the last 6 months in around 30 years. What does that mean? And some people get confused when I talk about the Japanese stock market, the Japanese market, and China's market. They're two different things, okay? I would argue that the Japanese market or economy is one of the most stable out there. So when they start to do these actions, you see concern and worry in the market. For instance, when we saw them mention that this was most likely going to start happening, we saw the market get hit last Thursday. Then it bounced back on Friday, okay? So when it happened overnight, last night, Sunday, it wasn't a big shock for me because we had already talked about this, right? It's like if I say it's going to rain tomorrow and then it rains tomorrow and you're like, oh my gosh, it's thundering. Are you really that surprised? Because the weatherman told us yesterday, right? So, and this is even more so because they said it was going to be on the table. And then they said they weren't going to address it. So we knew this was coming. Now, what's important is the reaction that we're getting. And again, if you didn't see my video on my second channel, the link is somewhere on the channel. You can check it out, right? Okay, we'll do it right now. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do if you want to. If you don't need to, if you hate the channel, unsubscribe. Awesome, right? Go over to channels. You can see my secondary channel, which is a lot of education, and then Jay Reams, which is also a lot of education. Okay. Also, two Discord links down below if you're interested. I don't recommend joining if you're a brand new trader. It won't really benefit you because you'll be a little bit lost in all the sauce, right? But if you want free education along with our YouTube channels, we have all of our course basically in here with all of our posts explaining how we trade, how we use these different signals and indicators, right? So check it out. But okay, what I always say is I'm a reactive trader, right? I use supply and demand, price action, volume. Those are the base of all my trading. Yeah, I use VWAP. Yeah, I'll use the 90 MA and some other things, right? But the base of my day trading comes down to reactions. So right now, in particular, I continue to say a few things, and I'm looking at higher time frames. We'll zoom in here in a second. But the biggest thing for me is I am watching how we're reacting to a lot of this news. I'm also very aware of where we're at here on the chart. If we look at the daily chart, we zoom out here on the daily on Nasdaq, we are very close back to all-time highs, right? We can all agree. We're getting close. Back in January, no one would have believed this, including myself, but we're here, okay? So when we look at the actions taking place and we look at some of this news that should bring us down, I look at it and I'm like, it's not that concerning. Going into this daily candle we put in, like I said, last Thursday right here, not a good candle. But the reaction to that, the reaction to said bad news was exactly what you wanted to see, eating that back up and getting back to where we're at. Okay? Now, I'm going to say this week is really important because we have Apple earnings, AMD, and Amazon. Those are big boys, right? Apple is the primary focus of the week. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay, so that's what we're looking at, and you still have some news coming up, but we're still, really close. And so when I look at these reactions to this news in particular, it tells me a few things for myself. We're still buying. Investors are still dumping money in. Hedge funds are still going net long, right? That's all I need to know. I am not going to try to predict what's going to happen in 3 months from now. I'm not going to try to predict what the Fed's going to say next. I'm going to react to the action that we're getting. Now, when we go into FOMC, I'll have an overall good idea of what's going to happen, but I'm never just going to, fully port my account, right? Going into the last FOMC, what did I do? I had some dated positions, 4 months out minimum. That's what I've been saying. End of the year is as short as you want to go if you're an option trader right now, if you're looking to swing or hold something overnight, because you want to be protected with that IV crush and theta. But again, let's go into this. Let's talk about a little bit what's happening, what we're expecting, and overall just what's happening. And now, biggest thing overall of all is the Russell, okay? And I continue to say this, and I'm going to continue to say it over and over and over. The Russell is painting a very big picture for us. It's painting a clear picture. If it was, it's a Picasso, right? This is beautiful what we're getting. The Russell, again, prints a new local high, 52-week high, okay? New 52-week high, going back to basically last February. You are getting right back to that level. You are at breakout levels. Now, again, what did we see? What are we even talking about? The massive flag that's been playing out here. And I also want to talk about something that we've been seeing. The rotation, it's really like the same pattern playing out over and over and over. Now, I will say, if it's broken, you don't try to fix it. A lot of people are like calling for shorts and go, I'm like, why are we trying to counter trade the clear trend that we've had? There's no point, okay? The Russell continues to paint this picture of higher lows and higher highs. That's as bullish as it gets. So I'm looking for the Russell to try to break over around 2030, roughly 2031, give or take. You get that action, I think you're pushing into like 2060, possibly even higher. If you look out like on the weekly time frame, I'm gonna tell you right now, you've been trading in this range for over a year. If you break out of this, you are going to get a lot of love. Giving you an example, we look at Nasdaq. Where did it trade? It traded in a very similar range. If you remember, we're going up to like 12.7. Once you broke 12.7, look what happened. You broke, mounted, you went crazy. ES, same pattern. Again, sometimes we just don't like to zoom out. I've been guilty of it, right? Very similar pattern, right? The same range. Remember 4,200? What did we say? You break 4,200. It looks promising. ES, once you broke it, it was done. You went crazy. So again, the same type of action. But I think Russell, more than anything, can paint a very, very big breakout potential for the market. Because this breaks out, I'm going to tell you right now. You go back to 2021 and 2020, and people are, if you remember from the election of 2020, basically over the next 6 months, it was crazy. Maybe even 4 months. Just euphoria in the market. And I'm not saying you're going to get to that point in the market, but I'm saying there's a lot of opportunities. And like I said, there's a lot of stocks. You zoom out here. I think Tesla's a big boy. I will say it's a big boy, right? But you still got a long way to go here, right? There's a lot of stocks. Some of the small mid caps, Square, very low. PayPal, very low. Upstart, I mentioned this one a while back. Remember, our target was 75. You're getting very close there, but you still have a long way to go. And you'll just notice over and over, there's a lot of these names that are just held down here. I can go on a long tangent of mid caps. You can look at whatever you want to look at, but they're all held down. Okay. And so these will get a lot of love. There will be a rotation into some of these names, China names in particular, which I'm in love with. Baba continues to do its thing. He targets 120 minimum. After that, could go just ballistic into 150, 160. But anyways, that's my view on the market. That's the big thing you need to be looking at, the big picture, right? So how am I preparing? What am I looking at? Now, we do have, and there's a little bit of a dark horse of bad news that could be lurking, but I'll talk about that in a second. You're watching Apple and Amazon earnings. Apple's earnings Thursday. I believe Amazon Thursday as well, maybe Wednesday. But those are the ones we're watching, okay? I think those go well, which I anticipate they will. We've already had news out from Amazon that they've reported their best sales, their 2-day sales period of all time this year on Prime Day. I'm just saying, consumers are still showing strength. Inflation data still looking good, which again, there's a little cloud above that. Apple, right? Again, I've said Apple's my favorite horse in this race right now, even though they're trading basically at all-time highs. Okay, no one believed me when I said, well, if we break above this, we had the kind of a flag, and then you also had the pennant here. No one. Hey, everyone was like, look, Tyler, you're crazy. New highs, you're crazy. Go watch the video when you broke out of this. But again, I'm just saying, Apple has never done this where they're releasing 2 new products at the same time. AR goggles and Apple GPT. And you're going to hear me say it over and over because I'm not the guy that's going to be like, I told you so. I'm the guy that's like, look, wait, we'll find another opportunity, right? But everyone's like, well, do I get in after you break out? I'm like, no, I don't buy when you break out. I buy on a retest. I buy when I see opportunity. The end, right? So that's what we're doing here. Apple, in my opinion, is going to go for the break at 200. The question is, how high does it run from there? It's price discovery. I can't give you a clear target, but that's what I'm looking at there. So again, those horses in particular look crazy. Tesla, Apple, my favorite. Baba, the risky asset that I'm in love with. I'm going to continue to say these. Also do want to mention AVGO. I'm going to continue to say this thing. It absolutely bananas. Absolutely. This thing is a wild one. This is the weekly time frame, and dude, this thing wants to run. If you can actually mount 910, I don't know why you're not getting the push yet, but I'm telling you, I'm going to keep saying it too. AVGO has so much room to run. Nvidia like continues to do it. Like Nvidia is just going higher. You broke the ascending triangle and like you clearly just mounted it. You can see right here. It was all over. I put it all over Twitter. Put it here on YouTube as well. Right? You mount. I mean, you're gonna go higher here. SOXX semiconductors continue to rip as well. Matter of time. Okay, so I just want to make sure it's all out there. Everything I'm looking at, being fully transparent. Those are my positions, things I'm looking at. Okay, now going into this, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not in positions, I think you need to be patient. Okay, so if you haven't already positioned yourself dated for December and January or even 2025, be really patient. My top position, if you are looking to buy something, you're like, my fingers are itching, I got to get something. Tesla is still one of the best names out there. I'm going to give you a free play. Usually I kind of mask some things on Twitter, sometimes even here. Tesla, the 400s for 2025 are absolutely absurd. Though the options are moving fantastic. You can have really nice stop losses as well below the local lows here. If you hold this range at 254, maybe re-get in at 240 if you want to. The risk to reward makes logical sense. You have over 500 days on the contracts as well. So you're not going to get killed by theta, IV crush, nothing like that. Telling you right now, that position is absolutely gorgeous. Anything into 2025 for the 400s is ludicrous. It's beautiful. The risk reward makes sense. Food for thought. The January 2025s, I believe they're on $34 right now. At highs of $300 right here, $299. They were at $70. They are moving insane. The Decembers for 2025, I kind of love them as well. Again, do what you want to do. That's what I'm looking at. Kind of a short video today. But again, I'm loving the way the market's moving. It's really right now, I'm like just sitting in positions, just like relaxing. Like I love everything I have. I'm just like, whatever. I have tons of time on my contracts. And I'm not trying to overtrade short term right now. I'll trade more scalps when we get the clear breakout above NQ. 15.9, I believe. Yeah, 15.9. You get the amount of 15.9 you hold. Yeah, I'll trade easy to the upside into all-time highs. And I'll probably slow down once we hit all-time highs. But until then, data positions are protecting you. So even if you do get some massive downside, you have nice stops and you're not taking a huge risk on your account. What I'm doing, okay, just going to tell you right now. Also, too, if you're new to the channel, you don't know, every day around 30 minutes after the video, I go on Twitter. I do a space call. You guys can join in. You listen in, or you can ask questions. I encourage you guys to ask questions. People comment down below, and I recommend you comment down below. But if you want to get actual engagement and talk to me, it's 100% free. It's on Twitter, okay? So stop acting clueless and playing victim down below. Get involved, ask questions. Because like I always say, if you join Discord, if you do anything, you got to put in work. Right? You have to understand I have to put in work if I want to take it to the next level, if I want to be successful, if I want to do anything, right? I'm a firm believer you get what you put in, right? Goes with college, goes with work, goes with anything, right? So that's what I'm going to tell you right now. You want to, it's free, tap in. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, traders.